Hello, and welcome to the Laser Exclusive, LaSalle's only bi-weekly news show that covers everything LaSalle and beyond. I'm Robbie Rowe, and we have a special episode for you focusing on the election. While there is an election every year, this year is the presidential election with the two major party candidates being Donald Trump and Joe Biden. We took a poll of the LaSalle students here to see how they were feeling about such election. 35 students answered the poll, which asked in one word, how are you feeling about the upcoming election? The two most common answers were nervous and anxious. For many students, this is the first presidential election they have been able to vote in. LaSalle recognizes this and has started a program called LaSalle Votes. LaSalle Votes is a civic engagement initiative that is meant to help students register to vote and help students submit absentee ballots in their home states if necessary. To better understand this mission of LaSalle Votes, Adam Hallenbeck talked with program heads Bird Hughes and Anna Sarlicio, as well as student leader Michael Wu.
The first question I wanted to ask you guys is, obviously LaSalle Votes has been a multi-year initiative. You guys have been working since 2018. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have had this for a little while, and now it kind of seems like everything's not coming to a close, but a little bit of a climax where the vote's coming in a few days. The push is very hard. How do you guys feel like your initiative has done in terms of your goals? Do you guys feel like you've been hitting your marks?
Yeah, I would say we're definitely hitting our marks. We are a well-oiled machine at this point. We were so lucky over the summer to, add Anna King, who's our graphic designer, to our team. So she's been phenomenal in terms of really coming up with great graphics to post on social media for our flyers, and then, of course, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So from the start, we knew we had to really gear down and prepare for the November election. Of course, it's the presidential season, so we really had to come up with a plan. And so we have weekly meetings with our team. It's both Anna and Bert, who are the faculty code leads, but also students. We have a lot of student ambassadors who really help us in terms of planning for social media, but also just spreading the word about LaSalle Votes and helping at our voter education, tabling. So they've been instrumental, I think, in terms of preparing for November. As you said, Adam, we really are on the crunch time. So I feel so far we've been super prepared. We built a whole website that Bird really took the lead on. So we are really doing a lot of great things.
And I also think we definitely have name recognition on campus now. When folks think about voting in elections, you'll often hear LaSalle Votes, which is really great. Granted that we started next year, just trying to build that credibility and capacity. And it's been really great to have faculty partnership and faculty buy-in in what we're doing, as well as support from the different offices and services across campus. So we're really happy with where we are. Like you said, it's a climax, nowhere near an end, because we're a 365 initiative. And so we will be around after the presidential election as well.
And yeah, I would just add that I'm really proud of our team of how much we kind of diversified what we've been doing. So obviously when you start, you kind of have to start with a smaller focus. And our focus was initially just going into the classrooms, trying to get in front of students, trying to get faculty on board. And after having done a year of that, now we have so many students who are on our team helping us, so many faculty who can refer students to us, and we're doing virtual tabling. We've had events for the first time this year. And like Michael said, we have a presence on My LaSalle. We have a Canvas page. So we're just, I think, really something that students don't have to look too hard to find resources on voting. And that's been really important for us for this election.
Do you guys have access to data about voter registration on campus?
So yes, we have partnered with a office at Tufts University. They have a College of Civic Life there, and they give us our data. So we don't have access to it in the sense that we are crunching those numbers. Like I can't look up right now how many LaSalle students have registered, but after the general elections every 2 years, they send us our data of how many of our students are registered, how many voted, and then what percentage of our students who are registered voted.
And you can find our actual reports. It's called NSOL, so National Study of Learning, Voting, Education. You can find the reports for the LaSalle community on our My LaSalle page.
If all of you guys were in President Alexander's position, you were told that a lot of students don't feel like there's a place to safely and properly learn about not only voting, but how to develop a political opinion. How would you guys, as President Alexander, want to move forward to create a more knowledgeable campus? You have, and what I mean by that is you have all of the power that you want. You can do whatever to the LaSalle campus that you want to make it what you want it to be in that sense.
Well, I have to say that President Alexander has been responsive. So a lot of what's been happening through DEI and even some of the things that LaSalle Votes has been doing has been in response to what we have learned about students and the way they feel safe or unsafe. I think, you know, we are trying to offer programs and activities and services that students want to engage with, right? And so we will have an idea of how we can offer something that students will hopefully come to and engage with. And I think, you know, for us, it's really getting more students to tell us what it is that they really need and want so that we can offer those things. And so that what we're offering is just not from ideas of what we think might be useful for students or could engage them, but actually comes from what students have said, this is what I need. And not only of this is what I need, but this is what I'm willing to lead and implement as well, right? Because we all know students don't want to come to things that's offered by faculty, staff, in you know, us adult folks. They want to be with their peers. And so we are really looking for those student leaders to step up and help us step into that next phase of being able to create this safe environment where everyone feels valued and welcomed and can grow and learn.
Oh, I was going to say, if I was President Alexander, I would just continue to support LaSalle Votes as we grow. So as you mentioned in the beginning of this interview, we're a really young organization. And, you know, you can't do everything all at once. You have to build out your infrastructure. But what we're hoping for as we grow is that we become a more permanent part of the university. And that would be what I think is also part of the president's vision, because like Bird said, he's been incredibly supportive of LaSalle Votes. But I hope, you know, in 5 years that students can not just email us, but they could go to our office. You know, I hope eventually there's a physical space on campus manned by students who are, you know, always engaged in, you know, helping develop each other's voter identity. Another college that we've worked with has a voting hotline that you can call and ask questions. You know, it'd be great if we eventually had that sort of space and student presence where they could man a voting hotline, which would be really cool. Just having it be more woven into the fabric of LaSalle so that students did feel comfortable talking about those issues, bringing it up in class, but also having it be part of the extracurricular. Just like Bird was saying, I would love if it was just the student norm that they always had debate watch parties and election night watch parties, and they were kind of like, you know what, you guys don't have to run it anymore. This is all student led right now. So that's what we're hoping to build towards eventually.
I think President Alexander is doing a great job of supporting, you know, DEI efforts and also LaSalle Votes, as both Anna and Bird mentioned. I think he was at the political divides, or bridging political divides, that event with Jesse, and so he was hearing the student perspective firsthand. And as Bird, you were talking about in terms of, you know, the student experience and what they want to see, having my hands in multiple places, I am on the DEI steering committee, and so we're gonna work closely with faculty and staff members on that steering committee as well to really bring the student perspective. And I encourage people to reach out to me if they have certain things they want to bring up. And certainly this is, you know, part of what we're going to focus on is, you know, having conversations with discourse, and how do we do that in an appropriate manner, and so I'm going to bring that to the table with you know, what we've seen. So that student perspective is so huge, and so as more people get involved in LaSalle Votes and other things like DEI, the better campus we have. So if you see a problem or you have a situation that you think should be addressed, bring it up, but also be there and advocate for it. We'd love to see you at the table. So join LaSalle Votes, join things that you're passionate about or want to see a change in, and that's the best way to do it.
And I also just want to add that, students don't have to be fully developed. They don't have to be completely knowledgeable. I think a lot of times students hold themselves back from doing things because they feel like either they're not ready or they're not as developed as some other people that they may be comparing themselves to. And I just want to encourage students that just show up as you are. That's our role as faculty and staff, to support your development. You don't have to already be a superstar or 10 miles along the way. We will help you get to that point. Just come with curiosity and a willingness to get involved, and we'll support you through all of the rest.
Thank you to LaSalle Votes for helping the student body become more civically engaged. We were also curious about how the students on campus were feeling about the election and how they were going to be voting. Field reporters Taylor Viles, Lisa Ortiz, and Jalen Hilton asked LaSalle students what their voting plans were and how they felt about the upcoming election. When asked about students' voting plans, many stated that they were voting early or voting via absentee ballots. Here were their answers.
What is your voting plan for this election?
I already voted by mail-in ballot.
I'm going to mail in a ballot to vote.
I'm voting November 3rd.
I already voted, actually.
So I have already voted for early voting. I went home and did the first day of early voting.
Actually planning on voting in person early this weekend back in my hometown, which is easily accessible, unlike a couple of other students here who have to mail in ballots. I already voted. I mailed in my ballot.
Students were also asked what factors influenced their participation within the election this year.
What factors influenced your decision?
Well, I watched all the elections for the last past years, so this year I could actually vote. So I watched the debates, so that really influenced it.
I just looked at all the facts and went with what I thought was best for our country.
So last year I couldn't vote because I wasn't in the age range, but this year I was able to vote. So I guess what influenced me is what's going on around in the world, and I decided that being a citizen of the United States made me kind of influenced and motivated me to cast my vote and play my part in the society.
You know what? It's really about who's going to do what's best for the majority of the country. I think that a lot of things being said in the media can be really difficult to decipher, and I think that it's really important that we look deeper into those discussions, debates, articles, anything out about the election, because it's really important to understand political views.
I mean, the world is in a bad place right now, so I just want to put my vote out there, even though a million other people are voting, but I want to get my voice out there, and yeah.
While most students decided to place their vote with one of the major party candidates, some students think that neither Donald Trump or Joe Biden will give this country the best leadership going forward and opted to go with a different option.
So I went with an independent party candidate in Joe Jorgensen.
Interesting. What factors went into that decision?
Well, clearly, a lot of Trump and Biden's plans or agenda is media-driven. Clearly, I don't think Trump is a good person, and I don't think Biden is a good politician. They have negatives and positives about both of them.
I just feel like neither of the candidates really represent me well enough, and that my voice isn't being heard because it's one out of millions of votes. So, just don't see a point.
Have you looked into any third-party candidates?
No, not really, but third parties aren't going to win anyway. So.
Lastly, students were asked if they felt like LaSalle politically supports the student body, regardless of party affiliation.
Do you believe LaSalle is supportive of their student body regardless of party affiliation?
I do believe so. Every single day I get an email about LaSalle Votes, so I feel like they're very advocating for voting and to have students vote.
Yes, definitely. Because I see a lot, they send out emails, I think, every day. There's teachers talking about it. They're always encouraging us to vote, so I do.
Definitely not. I'm someone who leans more left, but I definitely see that people who lean more right feel like they don't have spaces where they can comfortably express their views.
Yeah, I think LaSalle really encourages discussions from all political backgrounds. I've even gotten to talk with people who have very different views from me. And LaSalle really helped start a meaningful conversation with the other side, so to speak.
I definitely do, especially with my teachers, knowing that next week is the election. We're going to have a lot of topics going on in class, just like to get all our feelings out.
Absolutely. I feel like we're all, no matter what our view is, I feel we're all treated equally, no matter if we're one side or the other.
If you have yet to vote in this election, it is not too late. Tomorrow is Election Day, and you can return home in order to vote in person at the polls. If you are looking for ways to engage further, LaSalle is hosting 2 different events in the coming week that center around the election. There will be an election reflection series that has 4 parts. Part 1 has already happened, unfortunately, but Part 2 is on November 4th at 2 p.m. on Zoom. The goal is to talk about ways to stay grounded amidst the chaos. There is also a virtual post-election town hall on November 10th at 2 p.m. The goal of this event is to have a conversation about listening to, respecting, and uniting all members of the LaSalle community, regardless of political beliefs or ideologies, and moving forward together. That is all for this episode. Join us November 18th for our next episode, where we will be talking about the aftermath of the election. For now, I'm Robbie Rowe, handsome as always, and I'll see you next time on the Laser Exclusive.